Well, you got to look at the companies that are involved here. All of the 6 companies that are producing the vaccinations have intimate connections to the principals, the chief suspects, the chief genocidalists, Rockefeller. You're looking at Zuckerman. You're looking at, as I mentioned before, the connections to the royalty of Europe. You're looking at Michael Greenberg, who is the clinical research developer for vaccines at CSL Corporation. The people also, he was with SmithKline Beecham. These are the organizations that are advancing now the research with Rupert Murdoch's organization in Australia and advancing these vaccinations that so sadly contain these not just mutated viral live viruses, man-made laboratory creations, but the poisons, the squalene, there's the products that are being produced by CSL, it's called MF59. Another little piece of incredible information is that America's chief AIDS czar, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the director of the National Institute for Allergies and Infectious Diseases, that's your premier infectious disease organization in the United States, Dr. Fauci has been the principal promoter of people getting the flu vaccines. He is intimately connected with these organizations. He's on the take profiteering. He's got a co-patent. He's a co-patent holder on the ingredient interleukin-2, IL-2, within the MF59 adjuvant. It is, again, links to AIDS, to HIV. Stunning, another stunning revelation. Baxter Corporation actually is producing their vaccine, not in chicken eggs. They're using African green monkey. Baxter is one of the most hideously untrustworthy biotech companies and vaccine manufacturers in the world. Why the European governments have primarily used Baxter for their vaccines is absolutely malfeasant. It is
and expanding,
criminal.
Dr. Tenpenny says that some of this flu vaccine is being grown on dead baby retinas.
That may be. I don't have that document to say that, but I definitely have the document that shows that they're using Vero cells. In fact, I did an interview following a Baxter representative in Spain yesterday, and that they admitted using Vero cells, which is the African green monkey, that Dr. Hilleman on the Internet, I posted a YouTube segment where Dr. Maurice Hilleman from the Merck Pharmaceutical Company, and that company is hideously implicated also in this global scam. Well,
let me stop you. I've got a lot of nexus points I want to throw at you here.
Sure.
It's clear we're going to have to do more interviews in the next 2 days. This is so big. Baxter separately mixed the weaponized bird flu, quote, by accident at 14 different labs in Europe. It was then, the London Telegraph reported, a secret company. They've indicted all the government officials that were involved in Poland. A large percentage of the homeless they gave it to, saying it was a regular flu vaccine and paid them to take it, died. That's London Telegraph. But when I talked to you last time, you're saying you don't believe it's Baxter that did that. It was another company. I mean, this just goes on and on. Then we have Gardasil, and now they're having to admit what you said 3 years ago, that in the trials it was killing young girls that took it. And on top of that, Bild.de, the biggest newspaper in Germany, is reporting with top scientists in an article titled, "Does Virus Vaccine Increase the Risk of Cancer?" And it has top scientists in Germany, virologists, saying that it has live cancer viruses in it because it was grown in monkeys.
Exactly. Exactly right. And Baxter is heavily implicated. The company that I was referring to in the United States issue was Novavax, which now has been bought out by one of the other major large H1N1 flu vaccine manufacturers called Novartis. And so, yeah, but when you get to the heart of the beast and you see literally all of the fingers of the octopus emanating from New York City in this partnership, this trust that David Rockefeller and the royalty of Europe control through their main money managers and media manipulators, Rupert Murdoch on down, you begin to see what we're really facing here. A total scam. The whole thing shall fall apart as everyone, if everyone were simply to take this information, to read the affidavit, send the affidavit to law enforcement, to begin advancing the objections and the injunctions that are basically now obviously needed. Because
you believe this is the path to victory. You told me privately that it will just educate everyone about what's happening, so the establishment may not move with this operation if they know the jig is up.
Well, here's what I'm going to predict. Again, I'm going to stick my neck out, and I pray that I'm not right. I pray that I'm wrong. But you see, they're so heavily invested, and they already have lost, because it just came out in PubMed. I just posted it on fluscam.com on the latest news page. You can read it. You can link right to PubMed and see the study, where only 47% of doctors surveyed, that's medical doctors surveyed, would take the vaccine, because the rest of them, the vast majority, are not going to allow it because of what you and I, what our colleagues all over, Dr. Tenpenny, Russell Blaylock, all of these heroes out there have been telling the truth, and the doctors now are picking up enough of the information to say, hey, I don't trust this for my family, myself, or my patients. So we've already won the majority. Now what I fear is that because they are so heavily invested in population reduction, population manipulation, and that they're going, and this whole investment in biotech, what they're going to do is just like they did with 9/11. They're going to pull it. They're going to probably, if again, my hunch is right, their only option is to loose something that's going to cause a local outbreak in a city such as L.A. or potentially even New York. And the mass media is going to jump on it. They're going to say we've got to issue mandatory vaccinations now. Sorry, folks, I know I said Barack Obama's going to say, sorry, I know I said it was going to be voluntary, but under the circumstances now of this urgency and people dying, we've got to make it mandatory. Now you've got all the other pieces of evidence on your desk.
Well, they're already telling medical workers in New York and Europe and places they've got to take it, and they've already are trying to pass federal and state laws saying 4 quarantines under level 6. We're going to have forced inoculations. They've been drilling the military and police the last few years for that.
Well, that's exactly right. And this is the intelligence that you're receiving, I'm confirming, others are confirming. So we're really looking at, again, the urgency is we'd like to be able to not have anybody show up to get vaccinated. But, again, that's not their agenda. Their agenda is to intoxicate and enslave humanity to drugs. It's very clear. Simply, if you watch the indoctrination taking place through the mainstream media on prime time, for a 60-second ad for drugs, you get 10 seconds of side effects, not because they're compelled by law, because they want to shape the attitude, the culture.
They want to
culture.
Tell me if I'm correct from your perspective. They knew Gardasil would kill people in the trials. They put it out, wanting to set the precedent that people die and nobody gets in trouble, and we just accept it. And they know the flu shot's going to kill and maim. Their own CDC documents say that. And then the Reuters had an article saying, yeah, millions are going to die, but people are going to say it's the vaccine, but it's not going to be the vaccine. So they're really just testing soft kill weapons out in the open, seeing if they can get away with it.
Right. And they're also totally suppressing all the alternatives. Total gross negligence. They could be recommending vitamin C. They could be recommending vitamin D. They could be recommending the silver hydrosols. Oxysilver is a perfect example. Total suppression. Instead of heralding the natural things that are low cost, no risk, highly effective alternatives to all of these hideous toxic waste that they're administering, they could be advancing true
By the way, that's
reform.
not just you. I've had scores of medical doctors on that just say 30 minutes of sun every day is way more powerful than any antiviral or vaccine.
Right. They just want to poison us and make money off of humanity's suffering.
Well, we're designed to be in the sun, just like a plant. I mean, we need sun, correct, doctor?
Absolutely. And I don't believe in sunblocks. I never use it myself.
Well, it's pure aluminum. We'll be right back with Dr. Len Horowitz and your calls.
When you hear the word